you. Good morning and welcome. My name is John Lajamodia. I'm very pleased to be your Master of Ceremonies for the first Symposium on Indigenous Economies, hosted by the Bank of Canada, the Tulo Centre of Indigenous Economics, and the Reserve Bank of New Zealand. I want to acknowledge I'm here in Treaty 6 territory in the homeland of the Métis, where historically we worked together. We shared economies, we did things, but we know now that got interrupted, and sometimes violently. But to me, here we are having these conversations, and to me that means we're trying to do better. And to me, that means the future is going to be better than what we had in the past, as we all collectively move towards that brighter future here in Canada, around the world, with Indigenous people. I was asked to MC this conference a couple months ago, and when they asked me, I was like right away quickly accepted. But as a Métis business person, consultant, teacher of Indigenous awareness, and a publisher of an Indigenous newspaper, this stuff's right on my alley. So I would have tried to present at this, but instead I'm going to be hosting. But after I look at the agenda and all the speakers we're going to have over the next couple days, folks, we're in good hands, and you're in the right place at the right time. So thank you again for joining us on day one of the program. It's now my great pleasure to invite Elder Claudette Commanda from the Kitigan Zibi Anishinaabe First Nation, and she's going to offer an opening blessing. Elder Commanda, over to you.
John, Elder Commanda is not connected currently. I would like to throw to, if you can introduce Sarah Jules, please, for our first land acknowledgement.
Absolutely. So, okay, Sarah Jules from the Tulo Centre of Indigenous Economics, Sarah, over to you.
Liked. The Tulo Centre of Indigenous Economics is headquartered in Tecumseh on Chukwepem Ula, where we have lived and traded since time immemorial. Bookstrom.
Thank you, Sarah. Now I'd like to invite Naramu Parada from the Reserve Bank of New Zealand for their land acknowledgement.
Tihei mauri ora, e kore e tā I te rautakitahi me tuku ki te karere kia tae mai te wiwini, kia tae mai te wawana, kia tae mai te ariki koronga tā ki tō whenua nei. Koe nei te keke ho atu nei I rungo Aotearoa, ia te ika e takoto nei. Mai te tipua, mai te tahito, mai te kāhui o ngā ariki. Mai tā whiwhi atu kia tū, mai tā whiwhi atu kia rongo, mai tā whiwhi atu kia tāne. Anō whanahara mai te tōki, haumi hui tāiki Kia ora, John. Back to you.
Thank you, Naramu. Now I'd like to invite Suzette Argo from the Bank of Canada for today's final land acknowledgement.
Thank you, John. I am joining you today from the Bank of Canada's head offices on the traditional unceded ancestral lands of the Algonquin and Anishinaabe. Ottawa, the name of my home city and the name of the river that flows behind our office building, is derived from the Algonquin word adawe, which means to trade. For centuries, this river was the source of sustenance and spirituality for the Algonquin and Anishinaabe. Its tributaries were a conduit for trade networks between Indigenous peoples and stretched as far as the northern tip of Labrador in the east and Lake Superior in the west. People came to this area from near and far to meet and exchange trade goods, and through this symposium we are doing the same. But instead of goods, we are meeting to exchange and trade our knowledge. On behalf of the Bank of Canada and my colleagues across the country, I extend my thanks and respect to the Inuit, the Métis, and the First Nations people and their ancestors for their deep connections with the land on which we live and their immeasurable contributions. Thank you. Back to you, John.
Yeah, the old unmute, eh? Thanks, Suzette. And our other land acknowledgers. Do we have Elder Claudette back, or should we go into the welcomings?
We will go into the opening remarks, John. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So now I have the pleasure to introduce Tiff Macklem, Governor of the Bank of Canada. He's going to provide the first set of opening remarks. Mr. Macklem was appointed Governor of the Bank of Canada in June 2020 for a 7-year term. Governor Macklem first joined the Bank of Canada in 1984 and held various senior positions, including Chief of Research and Advisor to the Governor. He was appointed a Deputy Governor in 2004 and Senior Deputy Governor in 2010. During the global financial crisis, Mr. Macklem was Associate Deputy Minister at the Department of Finance and represented Canada at the G7, G20, and Financial Stability Board. From 2014 until his appointment as governor, Mr. Macklem was the Dean of the Rotman School of Management at the University of Toronto. Governor Macklem will now commence with his opening remarks. Governor?
Well, thank you, John, and let me offer a very warm welcome to everybody today. This is our very first symposium on Indigenous economies. Elder Commander, I'm sorry we couldn't benefit from your blessing to launch us, and I hope we can get back to that. I do want to thank Sarah and Narimu and Suzette for their very meaningful land acknowledgements. These acknowledgements are a vital part of our collective efforts towards reconciliation. They reflect much more than a historical accounting of the original occupants of this land. They commemorate not only Indigenous peoples' rich contributions to our countries, but also their kinship to Mother Earth and her life-sustaining gifts. And importantly, land acknowledgements help us all reflect on the history that brought us to reside here. This is one of the main goals of the Central Bank Network for Indigenous Inclusion, to recognize the shared history of colonialism in our countries and to work together to acknowledge and address some of the
Welcome to Poly Real Connect service.
To this end, we've committed as a country to advance reconciliation and renew our relationship with Indigenous peoples based on recognition of rights, as well as respect, cooperation, and partnership. Much of the work is being done through the lens of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission's final report that was released 6 years ago with 94 calls to action. Part of this includes economic reconciliation, and that relates to our mandate as Canada's central bank. Fundamentally, it's our job to promote the economic and financial welfare of our country and all the peoples within it. The report encourages organizations to apply reconciliation principles, norms, and standards to their policies and operational activities. This speaks to one of the goals shared by all of us at this symposium, making our workplaces and our policies more inclusive. That means eliminating long-standing barriers and ensuring that all voices are heard. Because when we listen to more diverse voices, we have a greater understanding of how our policies affect all Canadians. And that helps us make better decisions. The report also calls for meaningful consultations with Indigenous peoples and communities on economic development and equitable access to jobs, training, and education. As Canada's central bank, we play an important role in creating the conditions for opportunity for Canadians. And this must include meaningful opportunities for Indigenous peoples within Canada. So taking concrete steps towards economic reconciliation is our responsibility too. And it's incumbent upon us to take the time to do this well. Dans cet esprit, la Banque du Canada collabora avec un vaste éventail de groupes autochtones afin de déterminer ce que la réconciliation signifie pour nos activités. The Bank of Canada will be working with a broad spectrum of Indigenous groups to set out what reconciliation means for the work that we do. This will be a thoughtful and intentional exercise. We will look to our existing partners and hopefully many new ones to guide us toward a common understanding of what our role should be going forward. We've learned a lot from the relationships we've built over the past several years, and we've made some positive steps. Here I'm thinking about joint initiatives we've taken with Indigenous partners to identify barriers to economic inclusion. And we've undertaken some capacity building and education. We've embarked on these things together. Now it's time to broaden our engagement and reflect on what we can and should do. We know we have more to learn, and we know there are many other voices that need to be heard, including those of you joining us today and tomorrow. So we're going to take the best of the growth and learnings from our recent efforts, and we're going to ask our partners to walk alongside us as we take the next steps in our journey. Together, we're going to define what reconciliation means for the work of the Bank of Canada toward a more inclusive and prosperous economy for everyone. Comme je l'ai dit en anglais, ensemble, nous définirons ce que la réconciliation signifie pour la Banque du Canada afin de créer une économie inclusive et prospère pour tous. As I wrap up, I want to leave you with some inspiration to guide us over the next 2 days. And I can't say it any better than this quote from Elder Commanda's grandfather, William, who was also an elder. He said, "We must come together with one heart, one mind, one love, and one determination." I invite you to keep this vision top of mind as we work together to reshape our relationship with Indigenous peoples and foster inclusive growth and prosperity. We have a lot to learn from each other, and I am very grateful to our presenters, discussants, and participants. And I am confident that guided by your insight and wisdom, as well as the collective spirit of collaboration, this gathering will be an important building block to better understanding, better operations, and better policies. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor Macklem. And your last quote is very fitting because we have found Elder Claudette Commanda, and she is going to now do an opening prayer before we continue on. So, Elder Commanda, if you could please grace us with a blessing.
Thank you. Thank you, John. Sorry about having some technical difficulties, but when we live in this world, this virtual world, we have to expect these technical difficulties. So I ask those spirits of cyberspace, the gods of cyberspace, to really bless this meeting and yes, that we're not disconnected once again. I begin by saying thank you to Governor Macklin for mentioning my grandfather, the late William Commando. You know, it's just so it's so pleasing to hear that my grandfather's teachings and his vision and what he truly believed in continues to be remembered and to be exercised and to be respected by everyone. So, and it's so true what my grandfather believes, you know, the one mind, the one heart, the one spirit, that one love and that one determination. It's so important, so important. And especially when we're talking about Indigenous peoples, when we're talking about the rights of Indigenous peoples, when we're talking about correcting the wrongs, and we need to move forward with that one mind, one heart, one spirit, one love. For indeed, the Creator gave each and every one of us, regardless of color or creed or where we're from, He gave us love. So at this time, I begin by acknowledging my ancestors, and I say, Chimigwej ni jenwen daganago mamawenini wa chimigwej. I acknowledge my Algonquin ancestors, and I bring greetings on behalf of the Algonquin people. And I say, Chimigwej kakina migwej kibijaya goma no goma nishnabeeki. I welcome each and every one of you beautiful people into my homeland of the Algonquin people, as I acknowledge the homelands of all First Nations, Inuit, Métis, and Indigenous peoples across the world. I know that we are gathering worldwide, and so therefore the lands that we are sitting on at this time are those Indigenous voices, Indigenous spirits, Indigenous love. And I thank you. Thank you for bringing me into your homeland, as I welcome you into my homeland. And again, that's about one mind, one heart, one spirit, one love. And that is so important. And together we must let us join our hearts and our voices and our spirit as one, as we give thanks to that Creator, the one Creator who made all. And I welcome you into this prayer. And I ask that you say your prayer in the way that you believe, in the way that you were taught, in the way that you are comfortable. Even if that prayer is Chimigwej Kishiminado, even if that prayer is thank you, Creator. That is so important. And I say Chimigwej Kishiminado migwejonje nongo, migwejonje kanakego. Thank you, Creator, for all of your blessings. Let us put our hearts, our mind, our spirit and our voice together as one, brothers and sisters, as I acknowledge each and every one of you, Commissioner Manny Jules, the relatives of Turtle Island, Indigenous brothers and sisters from New Zealand, and all Indigenous peoples of Mother Earth, to the governors and speakers and distinguished guests who are here today for this virtual symposium on Indigenous economics. We are all in this circle together. And I ask the Creator to bless each and every one who are here. Nibuk sendam gishimanadonje kakina, nibuk sendam chimino taguzug, nibuk sendam mashkawiziwin, nibuk sendam minapumadziwin. Creator, it is my prayer for all who are here that you continue to bless them with good health, good life, strength, wisdom, and knowledge, and that good words will be shared here today. Creator, we come together as brothers and sisters, and we acknowledge that first mother who provides for all people, that first mother, and we say, Chimigwej kokomis, migwej jojoaki. We thank our Mother, the Earth. We come together, Creator, all of the people who are here with that one mind, one heart, one spirit, and one love, as we acknowledge that first grandmother who blesses us each and every night, that shines her light upon us and helps Mother Earth with the waters, and that light so we can see our sister, the stars, and we say, Chimigwej kokomis te begizis, as we thank our Mother, the Moon. Creator, we come together as brothers and sisters in this circle with that one mind, one heart, one spirit, and one voice as we say thank you to that first grandfather. That grandfather each and every morning as he warms each and every one of us, as he warms our mother the earth, and he shines this light so we can see the beauty of life. And we say, Chimigwej, Misho Miskizis. We thank our grandfather, the sun. And Creator, we thank you for bringing us here together. We thank you, Creator, for all of your blessings. Nibuksenda mashkawiziwinongum, Uma ashishwabang, and Nabagis Kishimanado, and Nabagis Widokushnangonji Kakina. Thank you, Creator, for hearing our prayer. Thank you, Creator, for this blessing. And we know, Creator, that you will continue to help each and every one of us as we come together in this great circle of life. Chi Miigwej. Thank you, Miigwej.
Thank you, Elder Commandant. Put a good spin on the day by doing that. I appreciate and am grateful for the prayer that you had for us today. Thank you very much. Now we'll continue with the opening remarks, and it's my honor to introduce Chief Commissioner Manny Jules. Chief Commissioner Jules has dedicated over 40 years of his life to public service in support of Aboriginal issues. He's a member of the Kamloops Ta Sekwemik, formerly known as Kamloops Indian Band, and he served as chief there from 1984 to the year 2000. Chief Commissioner Jules led the amendment to the Indian Act in 1988, so that First Nations could exercise the jurisdiction to levy property taxes on reserve. The Indian Taxation Advisory Board, ITAB, and the current First Nation property tax system were created as a result of his vision and efforts. He was also the driving force